Give me a minute. I'm aware of the line. Oh, well. Hmm. I like this one more. Perfect. All right. Let's see. I hope we're never going to catch up with this right. The hell is this bell? Quiet night, huh? I was debating even coming on here. I didn't have anything to talk about. And I figured, what's gaming content without a hot topic to discuss? And so I was kind of just thinking to myself, well, I just took tonight off. But at the same time, I was heavily enjoying this game. And so I thought to myself, well, even though there's nothing to talk about, I could come on here and at least stream. Even if I'm sitting here in dead silence. Just this mysterious, quiet silence. Because, for me, I like playing the video games more than I do talking to the chats. No offense to the chats, it's just some of you are very mentally disturbed and not afraid to express that. Ew. No. Good God, no. I'm not even going to begin to explain. So anyway, there's nothing to talk about. Then why not make this about what it has always been supposed to be about, which is me playing video games and people watching me play video games and not participating in the video games. Let's be honest here. None of you, well, it's weird because this is supposed to be a gaming channel. And I guess the general consensus is a lot of people who watch my content do so for one of three reasons. Either A, they like video games but cannot afford them somehow. Or B, they like what I'm talking about. Or C, and this is the one I don't understand, they hate my stinking guts and can't stand the fact that I exist. I don't know why a portion of my audience hates my guts. and insists on being here to watch my content despite the fact they can't stand me. Like, it's not normal. If you don't like something, why would you insist on being around it, you know? Especially when you're coming here on your own free will. It's that first bulletin point that really matters, though. People watch my content in the sense that they like the video games, and they watch it because they can't afford the games themselves. It's like, okay, so I guess people only watch because they're watching something that they themselves can never really enjoy for themselves, which is sad. I'm deeply disheartened that our economy is so bad in America now, or around the world, I guess, for that matter, because it's everywhere, that people cannot afford to enjoy these things. In all hindsight, my life is not that bad. But the thought that I have is, if that's the case, then we can never actually expect anyone to ever jump on the game with me, or, hey, can I play the game with you live on stream? You know, like, we can't expect that because apparently it just doesn't exist as a concept, which is, to be honest, that's very, very disheartening. I think that gaming is something that everyone should be able to enjoy. Everyone should be able to afford it. I think gaming is something that everyone should be able to access. And if Game Pass, the one thing that made gaming more affordable, is suddenly $30 and no longer worth the money because it's just, wow, then that tells you that there's something wrong with the gaming industry now, which makes me feel horrible as a gamer because I think that gaming should be a community enjoyable thing. So I come on here, and since we know that no one's ever going to join in because none of you can afford it, which is not me insulting anybody, it's just that's what everybody says, and I'm assuming it's true. Why would you lie to me about that? That's a weird thing to lie about, right? So I'm assuming it's true. Then I have to sit here and look at what I can do with my content, which is play it, and no matter what's going on, the focus should be we play video games. Still, there are going to be those days where I have nothing to talk about, so I guess quiet gameplay with no commentary might become a thing. I don't know. I mean, I want to be able to make my streams interesting and stuff, but we gotta hurry and do this quick. Now we're gonna go over to bank payments, the loans. We got about another $100. We could pay off the loan entirely. Well, let's hope for the best. But yeah, I feel like there's gonna be days where I have nothing to talk about, and I guess maybe that's not such a bad thing, but still, how do you make your video interesting when you have nothing to talk about? Like, personally, I'm sick and tired of talking about Trump and politics, and the world as we know it is slowly crumbling to an end. It's like, it's just morbid after a point. I also found out some things today that were also disheartening about the YouTube side of things. Now, for some of you, you may have noticed that my channel has 6.5 thousand subs. And you also may have noticed that I have about an average of 60 to 150 views per video, which isn't great. It's not really. I mean, it depends on what part of the analytics you're looking at, actually. So I was asking ChatGPT, explain this. Because I would like an answer that's not my haters dogging on me because they want me to think it's one thing when they're not going to tell me the truth to begin with. And nobody else has an answer. I've heard everything from it's a botted account to you just suck now. Like, I've heard everything, right? And ChatGPT gave me probably one of the most realistic answers I've heard by far. You guys ready for it? You guys ready for this bundle of joy? The answer that ChatGPT gave me, let's see how bad the takeaway is tomorrow morning, was that my content is all over the place, and therefore YouTube is not sure where to send my audience, and therefore people are not watching like they used to because I'm not putting out content in a consistent pattern of a certain niche or genre or theme. So I have videos about Xbox. I have videos about YouTube growth. I have videos about Trump. I have videos about A-logs and exposing predators. Two different concepts there, but they both kind of mend into each other, right? I have videos about me and my personal life. I have a lot of different topics here. When you have this many topics, YouTube's like, where the fuck do we send you? Like, and then they don't really have a way to help me reach that wider audience, no matter what it is I'm talking about. Like I technically could expose A-logs and trolls for the rest of my life and do fine. It's just I'd have to pick a topic and stick to it. And considering the longer I was a part of the negative side of things, we're just gonna sell bread. That seems to be working, which is sad that bread is the one thing that sells in this town. We should get a fridge and sell bread and milk. But anyway, there we go. $80 is fine. What was I going to say? Yeah, being that I have been around this field of negativity for so long, I found myself becoming sporadic, where I basically talk about pretty much everything under the sun with no real clear indicator of what my focus is. And that, I guess, what ChatGPT is trying to tell me, and in turn I'm sharing this with all of you for reasons that are, I guess it's basically learn from my mistakes, right? If you want to get big on YouTube, don't F up like me. It's focus on 1 to 2 topics at most, and don't cap it beyond that, because then YouTube can get very confused, and ensuring your audience that likes you so much for one thing might never get it from you again, and then they'll never tune in again. People who tune in for gaming content are going to want to tune in for gaming content, not, okay, he talked about games and had a lot of great points, and we love his takes on the Xbox thing because Phil Spencer does suck. But now he's talking about Donald Trump, and as much as we might agree, this is not what we sub for, so why tune in? And that actually makes sense. And now I'm like, did I single-handedly shoot my growth in the foot and cripple my growth all because I wanted to have an opinion when I could have just made 6 other channels and did it there instead? You know what I mean? ChatGPT is also... I know that talk about ChatGPT is not appealing to everybody, but I talk about it because it is cheat codes for life. If you want to know... If there's something that you want to know about, but there's no handbook on how to do it right, then use ChatGPT. It's a handbook for things that don't have a handbook, pretty much, right? I was talking to ChatGPT. I'm like, so would I benefit more from having a channel for VODs? You know, I stream here, but I put my VODs somewhere else, or my highlight reel, if you want to call it that, right? Would it be good to have a completely separate channel beyond that for clips, like short videos and shit, right? It's like, yeah. I mean, if you do it the right way, it's a strategic approach that can really grow you as a creator, because then YouTube knows where to send your audience. And they'll always have a consistent form of that content. Yeah, you're going to have to do a lot more editing for the VOD clip highlight channel. You're going to have to do a lot more effort into your clips, which, again, I'm not against that. It's just sometimes change is needed to your system that you have in place. And then there was a whole another topic, too. Like, you could have exposing trolls and A-logs for what they really are if it's its own channel and you're consistent with it. Not upload 40 videos at the same time and then forget about it, because then you are kind of screwing yourself on what you could be using with it. I mean, those videos do have a way to grow. It also... A lot of you who've been here a while know about the April 23 expose thing where I was exposing a predator who happened to be trans. There's no way around that. And they were admitting to doing some very not so okay things, that's the way I'm going to put it, with children. Things that involve getting into bed and rubbing sticks together, if you get my drift. I'm going to leave it at that, okay, because I don't want to make this a gross video. I've had enough of those in the past. Well, ChatGPT's like, maybe if you titled your video differently, it wouldn't, like, you'd get farther in the algorithm. So I'm like, give me examples. Well, instead of saying trans predator, because that just pisses everybody off, I guess, instead just, you know, label them, you know, exposing a predator. The word investigation probably would go a long way, it turns out. And so I'm learning this, and I'm like, wow. That Tips TV archive channel we have actually could go great if I just title the videos differently, which is something I need to do in the near future, is go on there and I need to take these titles, put them in ChatGPT, ask it for more optimized titles. Basically, it says it will potentially do better. It's never a guarantee, but obviously I suck at this, so I need advice on what to label things better. And then, more or less, these titles be put in place. And then I gotta go one by one and take my thumbnails and pay $20 ChatGPT for a month and basically do the same, because ChatGPT is literally cheat codes to succeed on YouTube. It won't do the work for you. It will just tell you this is more likely to get results based off previous data than the BS you have now. And so I have to go through all my channels and all my videos and basically do that so that I'll do better. And then I have to figure out a way to memorize this myself so that I learn. Basically, I'm taking college courses on how to succeed on YouTube from ChatGPT. And if I pay $20, I'll get more out of it, I guess. Because, there's a limit on how many videos and pictures you can upload to it, and there's a limit on how many you can give back. Text is limitless, which is hilariously enough a great thing, but still. And so I'm trying to better myself as a creator because I would like these topics to get out where they will be seen by a wider audience. No matter what content it is. It could be exposing trolls. It could be my thoughts on Trump. My gaming content, which is really my bread and butter. Oh, look at that. I think we found something to talk about this whole time. Anyway, and so it's something for me to work on over the next 6 months to 40 years. Depends on how long it's going to take. We'll see where things go, I guess. Come on, 10 more bucks, and then we're going to be able to pay off this loan piece. There's plenty of bread. We're going to have to... Yeah, let's pay off the loan. Let's pay off that loan entirely. Oh, let's pay it off early right now. There we go. That's one more loan out the window. We got one more. One more loan. But anyway, let's do 4 of these and nuggets. Anyway, yeah, that's primarily what I've been looking into and figuring out and learning from and whatever. I think ChatGPT has its uses. I never thought it was useful before, mostly because I never actually looked into it. I was all like, ooh, AI bad. Can't tell you how many of the wrong crowds I was rolling with. I was literally letting the brainwashing of modern day society sway me into having different opinions about certain things. And now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, maybe the Republicans don't know what they're doing. I'm not trying to crap on anyone. If you guys are Republicans or conservative, I'm not dumping on you. I'm just saying, like, maybe it's not for me to listen to the masses when they say, oh, we're conservatives and we know how to run the world, when you clearly don't. I was going through my my budget. I couldn't help but notice that I don't know if I want to talk about this actually. Maybe we shouldn't. I'm gonna do it anyway. Why not? We're already here. So from 2020 to 2024, we were underneath the Biden administration, right? Here in America. This is gonna be a semi-political conversation, but not really. It's more a conversation about people being poor with their money. Anyway, so we were under the Biden administration from 2020 to 2024. And in that time frame, I was getting about $650 a month at most, maybe $700 at most, every month for like 3 years in a row. Throughout that time, mind you. And in that time frame, I was able to pay for rent. I was able to afford food for the entire month and not have to struggle ever even once. Remember, on a budget of a maximum of $700, I could afford multiple $20 to $30 games per month, along with Game Pass and PS Plus at its maximum value, which right now would be $20 and $20. Well, now it's $30, but I'm not really going to pay $30. Who would? Okay, I guess we're done with the day. And I could also afford rent-to-owning Xbox Series X and PS5. Now, bear in mind, when you're rent-to-owning, you're paying about 150 to 200 bucks every month towards that payment. Okay, this is on a budget of $650 to $700, somewhere in that ballpark range. I was living the life, and my money went a very, very long way. Now we're under the Trump administration, and here's the difference. I have an overall budget of almost $1,000. And the problem with this situation is that under the Trump administration, my $1,000, I'm exorbitant prices on rent. Like 5 to 6 times more than I was paying back then. Okay? For generally the same kind of space. Okay? I'm also struggling to afford food throughout the month. Bear in mind, I have more money now than I did then. That doesn't make sense, given that my food budget is about the same. I'm actually having to spend more money beyond the food budget that we had. I own an Xbox Series S, and I own a PS5, along with a $3,500 laptop. I'm no longer paying towards payment plans for rent-to-owning because I own them officially. And what's funny is the ones I was rent-to-owning I wound up not keeping. The ones that I have now, I straight up bought somewhere within that 2024 range. Because like I said, I was doing well for myself. Now, I am struggling on money despite having exceptionally more money than I had back then. Is it safe to assume that maybe under Republican leadership, we don't have the economy that we're supposed to have? Maybe there's something wrong with the prices, or maybe there's something wrong with the economy in general, to the point in which we can no longer afford the things we once could. To that level. I mean, I was paying off loans back then too. I used to take out loans in 2020, 2024, and I had to pay them back as well, and still have money left over. I was also living with 8 people that I was supporting financially too, on top of it all. And that too is no longer humanly possible. Because now I'm a single person and cannot afford to fully sustain myself by myself anymore. Now, I'm making it work, obviously. But the question I have is, what happened to our budget? I do think that Trump does not know what he's doing with the tariffs. I do think that there's a lot of things to signify that is the truth. But I also think it's really weird that a budget that once worked, we have at least a 50% increase in the budget, and we cannot afford to live. It feels like instead of getting 50% more money, somehow we're paying to the point where we have 50% less money, which is a problem. And I can't explain that. Armchair political analyst? Not really going for that, but I guess if that's what it sounds like, sure. But, like, I find it weird that, and that is what it feels like. I feel like instead of having 50% more money than I had originally, now it feels like I have 50% less. We do have more, though. That's the problem. So we're paying so much. The prices have increased so much on everything. Bear in mind, games used to be $60. Now they're 70, pushing 80. Consoles are more expensive than they should ever legally be allowed to be. And digital products somehow are going up in price too. What ingenious excuse do they have to charge $30 for Game Pass? It's a digital good. They're like saying, okay, we're going to make you pay more on Game Pass by forcing you to have Fortnite Crew and Ubisoft Plus Classics, which is such a shit product, by the way. Ubisoft Plus Classics, God, that's such a tongue twister, serves no value in any capacity, as most of those games most people already own. And the few that we don't are usually the ones that no one's ever going to play. Like Risk, the board game Risk, but video game version. Like, who's going to play that? Monopoly. Well, yeah, we're going to play that all the time. That's the next Battlefield 6. No. And then you have the clear and present joke of a service, which is Fortnite Crew. Basically, we have to have Fortnite Crew so you can be justified to charge us $30 instead of $20. Now, price-wise, yeah, maybe it's worth $30 at that point, but no one wants to play Fortnite. Fortnite's battle passes, their music passes, their Lego passes, and whatever that fourth one is. The OG pass, I think. It is such a garbage service right now because there's nothing ever good to unlock. Plus, what? You want to play on a game full of children and grind Battle Royale to unlock these things? Sure, to some people, children, that's appealing. But most adults don't want to waste their time. Unless you're a high-level streamer making money off those streams. Which tells me this is also a manipulative way for Xbox to convince children to loot mommy's credit card. See, they're charging so much more for the most ridiculous reasons, and I'm thinking to myself, what if this is what's wrong with the world? What if this is why prices got so bad? What if this is why I have twice as much money, 50% more money, whatever, and yet they're charging so much on things it doesn't make sense to charge this much on that it feels like we have significantly less. There's a problem there. And I think as a society, we are going to need to address it at some point. But here's the first thing I'm going to note. Donald Trump thinks he's getting a third term. No president has ever been allowed to do that, but yet the fascist, because that's what he calls him, right? I personally don't know. I've seen some Nazi behavior already. I will note that. But I don't really think he's a fascist yet. He's getting there, though. Here, let me deploy the military everywhere just because I can, and I don't like the Democrats. Like, are you trying to create a civil war with your own people? What the hell is going on here? But whatever. I think he wants to have a third term. Not going to fly, because if you're going to violate the U.S. Constitution, then you're not my president at that point. You're just a dictator. When you break the Constitution to appeal to your methods and basically get what you want, which is when it's a violation of doing so, you're not a president anymore. You're a dictator. Dictators say, I'm president forever. That's really what you're doing. Because what? You're going to demand a third term, and then what? By the age of 90, you're going to demand what? A fourth term? Then give it to your son? Oh, now we're dealing with kings and queens. Whatever happened to the presidency? Whatever happened to democracy? See, that's a problem there. Oh, what's this offer? I don't have a place to put it. Yeah, that's the first real issue. The second issue is if you're going to screw our economy so bad that the only people benefiting are the rich, you're not my president. I'd rather be a traitor to the United States than have to deal with that crap. I mean, I have to live here, you know. And guess what? I was here first. Donald Trump as a president came after I was born. I don't even know. Was Donald Trump born here? That's another question I have to ask. I mean, according to Donald Trump, Obama wasn't born here, but if Obama was born in Hawaii, and he's apparently not a U.S. citizen, does that mean that Donald Trump, who was also potentially born here, is also not a U.S. citizen? What is happening with our country? The point is, it's a bunch of mumbo-jumbo bullshit. Do we need any more? God, they're already selling out on the bread? The point is, I really do want the economy to get better before I even remotely start contributing to society. Because I have to live in this crackpot of a country. But, I don't know. I guess we'll just see where things go at this point. The budget being as bad as it is, though, unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Beyond that, what else is going on in the world I could talk about? Because I have no idea what I want to talk about. Yeah, I've been talking with ChatGPT. I have a whole lot of things I can work on now. No promises it will help my content. But at the same time, it's like, ChatGPT's like, listen, you double-barrel retard. I'm like, what did you just call me? ChatGPT's like, let me repeat myself. Listen, Tibbs TV, you double-barrel retard. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? It's like, you need to ignore your trolls. I'm like, you can say it without hurting my feelings. Like, I'm not even kidding. You called me that. I'm like, I don't think that's what they call that. I couldn't stop laughing. ChatGPT's like, you're a moron. See, God damn it, came back from a call and realized this came on 30-something minutes ago. Well, I did text you, be fair. Yeah, I won't contribute until my demands are met. You're a waste. Are you talking about, like, in reference to what I said about America? Yeah, it's kind of true. Let me go get a drink real quick. I'm thirsty. Alright, I'm back. Let's see. You're just another centrist who thinks it's plausible deniability for both parties screw-ups. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You care to elaborate? Let's see. Let me read the comment again. You're just another centrist who thinks it's plausible deniability for both parties screw-ups. Do you know what plausible deniability means? I mean, to be fair, I made this political by bringing up crapping on Trump's plan. I guess you didn't like my take. Usually that means you're associated with a certain side. I'm not judging. If you're a Republican or if you like the Trump dick, I don't judge, okay? I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. At one point I tried to. But I'm like, he's not putting out the Epstein list. Why isn't this orange citrus fruit of a man not putting out the Epstein list? I thought he was going to, and then he didn't, and so that's why I don't like him anymore. Because the one thing I was hoping he would actually promise and then keep his promise on, he chose not to keep his promise on. In fact, he's been evading it like crazy. But I guess the rest of it is me crapping on a political segment that you don't really appreciate. I get that, you know. I'm not saying we have to agree on these things. I'm just saying it's a little bit weird that under the Biden administration I had a budget that worked, which was far smaller of a budget, and under the Trump administration, and I'm horrified, okay, because I hated Biden, okay? I also hated Democrats around that time, but I'm thinking maybe it was brainwashing. I don't know. Now under Trump's administration, I have a higher budget, and I'm paying significantly more. It's a little fucked up, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. That's what's happening. If Trump's to blame, then Trump's to blame. I mean, we could say Biden's to blame, but for how long after Biden's gone can we use that excuse? You know what I mean? And that's generally what I'm talking about here. I also had issues with some other things, but well, you know, I still don't really know who's the one responsible for all the nutso shit over the last 2 years. Let's see. Hold on. Don't ban him, by the way. I think he's definitely bringing up some interesting concepts. So Kerfuffle says you're just another centrist who thinks it's plausible deniability for both parties screw-ups. Scrolling through this, he does not seem to explain what plausible deniability means. So I'm going to have to look it up, unfortunately. Give me a second, guys. I'm learning new things each day. Come on. Plausible deniability definition. Plausible deniability is the ability to deny knowledge or responsibility for an action, making the deniable believable making the denial. Plausible deniability is the ability to deny knowledge or responsibility for an action, making the denial believable due to a lack of evidence proving otherwise. This often... You're going to have to wait, man. We're talking politics. This is often achieved by structuring clandestine or unethical activities so that superiors can claim ignorance by ensuring that direct evidence or wrongdoing is limited or can be interpreted in multiple ways. Well, okay, if it's about denying knowledge or responsibility, I'm out here pointing out knowledge and responsibility and lack thereof. So, how am I denying anything? Like, in fact, plausible deniability denies in the word itself. I'm not sure how you mess that up. Okay, so hold on, I gotta go back to the rest of it. Give me a moment here. I'm trying to catch up on your commentary. So you say I'm a centrist. If I'm a centrist, then how am I having any plausible deniability? I'm not to blame or responsible in any capacity for anything that's going on with the Democratic Party or the Republican Party if I'm a centrist, because a centrist is in the middle, right? Why is the chat not appearing on the screen, by the way? I want this to show up on the screen. There we go. There we go. Now it's working. So, yeah, I don't understand. If you're a... Hold on. Let me look up centrist. I'm looking at these things because I doubt you're going to explain them to me. And these things are actually of an interesting concept to discuss. A centrist is having moderate political views or policies. So you're in the middle. You're not a Democrat, you're not a Republican. Then why would I be responsible for either side? Why would I have any reason to deny or accept in any capacity either party's screw-ups? I'm especially here pointing it out, too. It's weird that under the Biden administration I had a lower budget, but could make it work farther. And under the Trump one, it's the opposite somehow. That's not really a screw-up. That's more of a concerning factotum. So anyway, I guess, let's see. And then D-Chat says, who are you again? Ever hear of radical centrism, horseshoe theory? To be fair, I haven't heard of these things either. Sounds made up, says Kerfuffle. I haven't heard of them myself. Why do you think it's even called third POS? I don't know, to be fair. I don't know. I'm reading D-Chat and Kerfuffle's comments, so I am admitting I do not know on these things. I'm just telling you guys what I know. Then Kerfuffle says, you can sit on the fence all day and complain while not doing anything for society while you blame persons more successful than yourself. If you're so successful, well, I have my doubts. I mean, you haven't shared in any capacity how you are somehow more successful. You haven't shown it. In fact, if I go to your channel, I highly doubt we show you flashing money or in any capacity showing off the success. No, it's a picture of a pony for My Little Pony, and I go to posts, and there's no posts. So there's no evidence at all that you're in any capacity successful. That's a bold claim that anyone can make. I could say, I just made $100 million by showing my feet on OnlyFans, and, well, though it's possible that some idiot out there paid that much, it doesn't mean it's necessarily true because it's word of mouth, and that can be seen as hearsay. So at that point, talk about being more successful than me or whatever. Obviously, that doesn't work. Let's see. Too many presumptions there. Define success here, says D-Chat. Kerfuffle says goodbye, welfare state. See, that's not a valid argument, though. And that's the problem. D-Chat says, is the society worth facilitating and maintaining? Probably not. I say let society burn. We'll just start from scratch once it's gone. Let's see. I'm an anarchist, to be fair. This is the same retardation that Plog and others promoted. I don't know who that is, though. OMG, you can't read. I think I'm reading well so far. Kerfuffle says, I don't think you even know what you're reading. You are saying some things that I'm not aware of, so to be fair, it's called ignorance. If you're ignorant, that means you're willing to learn. Stupid means you're not. Just in case you didn't know the definition. Let's see, scroll through the chat. It's not that long, D-Chat. I think we both did, and we're still confused on what your point is. Armchair political analysis. I didn't take it as an insult, so I'm not sure where he became hostile or for what reason. Live your own example. Stop being lazy. I'm not being lazy. I put in enough effort to realize that I'm wasting my time, and I'd rather work smart, not harder. So, let's see. Kerfuffle says, you want me to? I don't know... Oh, that was D-Chat. Well, still, the same response applies. Kerfuffle says, you want me to? To, like, we want you as well. No, I don't think anyone's asked you to be a part of anything. Let's see. Yes, you too, all of you. Who is the other ones, though, D-Chat? So now that I'm all caught up in the chat, make sure I read everybody's comments because I want you all to be heard. Why the hell is my thing all the way down here, though? Oh, it's catching up. That's why. Hold on. Ah, that's why. It wasn't gone the chat hadn't caught up on the replay yet. Replay was behind. Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was talking shit to a potential troll in the imaginary YouTube chat, and oh my God, I'm so getting fired. Look how long the line is. They're all like, God, fuck, we want to buy. Well, I don't know why you'd want to buy from here. All we have is no bread anymore. Oh my God, we need to buy bread. How are we out of bread? And I can't believe they're waiting for me to stock it with bread. Close after 9 p.m. God damn it. How are you all in line? How much imaginary bread? All right. Not buying any more bread. You can all go home. Oh, you're all waiting in line. Okay, that makes even more sense. It's not that they were waiting for me to stock the shelves. It's that literally we're waiting for me to... They have one light. This is... To be fair, this is why I don't get a job. Because I can play video games like this and practice for 20 years first. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's not true at all. But, like, imagine if it was, right? No, I think that Trump sucks at his job, just like Biden sucked at his job. I guess I am a centrist, I guess. That does make sense. But, like, honestly, how is the budget... How do I have more money? And I know what I'm paying for. I keep a very, very detailed Excel spreadsheet, right? I'm like, how do I have more money and yet I'm paying so much more on stuff? Because, like, I have the receipts going back years. I keep track of this stuff. How do I have more money and yet I'm spending so much more that I can barely afford what I could afford on less money? Like, that's fucking weird, you know? So, like... Honestly, I think Trump's shitty at his job, and if you, kerfuffle, are triggered by that, your leader's kind of a bitch, and there's not much I can do because he sucks at his job. Oh, I'm going to make America great again. Oh, yeah, okay, fine. Fine, Trump. You can make America great again. When? When you're dead? Because, like, you have to remember, that's not a threat against the president, okay? That's literally a statement that he's going to expire in the very near future. I'm going to say when he's 82, he's going to croak. That's my prediction, right? Because the man is pushing 80 right now. And most people don't live to be that old to begin with. He's going to croak in the next 2 years. I guarantee it. And when you all find that he died at 82, you're going to look back at me and say, how the fuck did you know? Well, I'm sorry. I just kind of had a gut feeling, all right? Because that's the truth of it. This man doesn't have much time to unfuck the country, okay? If he's going to make America great again, he's got a very limited amount of time. And what I'm trying to say on that is, if the Grim Reaper does not catch up to him first, okay, I would like to think he would do it within a reasonable time frame. He's already 80 years old, which, by the way, I never thought he was that old already. It's shocking that he's already 80, okay? Like that. I thought he was like 60 or 70 maybe at most. No, he's fucking 80. That is wild. Because I'm gonna note, he don't look 80. He looks about 60 or 70. Which for his age, I guess he looks pretty good for his age, right? I'm not flirting with the man. I'm simply stating he doesn't look as old as he is. He's old. 80 years old? He's a goddamn antique that has escaped the Smithsonian. And that's a problem, because that means if people in general do not live past 79 on average, he's 80. He's past 79. He don't have much time on this earth left. If he lasts another 10 years, cool. But here's the thing. This presidency for him, the one that's legal, mind you, will end when he's 83. They're saying he for sure will be made president for a third term in January of 2029. So you're saying he's going to be president until he's 87? Till he's 87? If we're not accepting that with Biden, why the fuck would we accept that with him? And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this man is 80 years old. He says he's going to make America great again. When? When you're 87? The fuck? I'm sorry, kerfuffle. I don't mean to insult you. It's just, you know. But you showed people your $1 billion Cash App. No, it wasn't $1 billion. It was a septillion, a 24 followed by 25 zeros, which is more wealth than all the money on the planet combined. How do I have all your money on the planet in my Cash App? Think about it, all right? Are you complaining about day-to-day expenses? Dude, okay. I shouldn't have to explain this. But I know that I'm talking to a troll. And if anything, it's creating engagement, so I appreciate it. I missed you guys a little bit. Okay? It's weird that I missed my A-logs a little bit. Like, oh, you guys came back. It's like the relationship has been rekindled. All right, enough of the gay shit, okay? But, like, seriously. 24, okay? It was the number 24, followed by 25 zeros. At that point, you know it's not true, okay? A septillion. Look up a septillion. Ask Google, okay? Go to google.com and say, is it possible for one person to have, $2 septillion or $1 septillion? Ask it that, okay? I'm not going to tell you all the answers. I'm not going to tell you everything every time because some of this should be common sense. That wasn't my Cash App on top of it all. And that was a fake page I made to mess with my A-logs. Like, how, if I was that rich, you think I'd be on YouTube at all? I'd be smashing pussy every night of the week. Get any woman I want in bed. Any woman at all. Doesn't matter which one. Because that's a lot of money, okay? You could drop $6 trillion and bang any woman you want at that point. If I was really that rich, you think I'd be here on YouTube, of all places? I would own the United States, okay? When you have a septillion dollars, that's all the money on planet Earth. You can buy 5 countries at minimum, okay? Probably all of them at this point. The fact that I have to explain this to you. Like, I thought I had an intelligent audience, but remember, guys, that sometimes I think too highly of all of you. And sometimes... What? 108? Oh, shipping. I'm over here like, I have to pay shipping? That's a thing? That explains where my money's going. But anyway, yeah, like, I have to explain this to you. It's septillion dollars. I chose that number because it's so outrageous. Obviously, I'm mocking the trolls. Obviously. The fact that they're surprised or outraged by that is just sad. Anyway, let's see. Let's see. What else? I think someone is a phony pony who's full of baloney. It's septillion dollars. So, to be fair, yeah. But the fact that you're outraged by what is clearly a joke? Oh my god. You need to work on your adulting, okay? I'm just gonna say it. There's nothing more sad in life than a guy who's apparently offended or complaining about a guy who put up an amount of money so extravagantly large that they start going around saying, oh, you lied to me. Where? Like, nobody. I bet you there are children who looked at that number and said, there's no way. There's no way. I bet you my fucking soul. If the devil is down there, now's your fucking chance. I bet you my soul that there are children who've seen that and they're like, there's no way. Because most people would look at that and say, that's kind of a big number. Even if people were gullible, it's a little hard to believe that one because it's such a long number. So many zeros. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that one's on you. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know how you expect me to care. Like, that is funny that you're upset or whatever. But, like, there's this thing called the minimal research, right? You do the minimal research when you're involved in anything. Or at least, I don't know, if it looks off to you, if there's that much money on someone's Cash App. I mean, you could have always said, hey, Cash App, is it possible to have a 1 then followed by 25 zeros as an actual amount on this app? Because that's incredible. We can have that much here. Like, I'm just saying, man. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like this is a you problem. I'm not ashamed is my point. Let's see. Nobody cares what you're into, Carrie. If you do you, shove all the baloney up your pony you can. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I'm not trying to dump on you, Kerfuffle. It's just... Anyway. See, here's the thing. Donald Trump basically butt-raped our economy. That doesn't mean I can't have a sense of humor, right? Everybody's like, you're a broke-ass bitch. No, I'm not. And then they're just staring at it like, how? How does he have all this money? You live like a homeless man. So does Asmund, apparently. Which is fucking funny. That is a conversation that we have to have someday. That man is fucking filthy. I've seen the house tour that he did with Tectone and that one lady. The one Asian chick was like timid, like afraid to touch anything. I totally understand. But like the Asmund Tectone video showed a lot though. The rats, the dead mosquitoes, the everything. It was just I know why they call him the Roach King now. And I'm like, that guy lives like a fucking bum. But what's funny about it is he has all this money. Moist Critical just showed off his analytics, by the way, today. And that guy, his background shows a slightly different environment. But did you know that Moist Critical has at least $36 million between YouTube and Twitch alone? That man don't need a fucking job. He does YouTube. I'm like, I do YouTube. Dude, I could be a guy with $36 million if I do this right. I don't need that much money. That's a lot of money. It's so bad for Moist Critical, though, that he has decided that he does not want his audience subbing to him as far as memberships anymore. He shut off memberships. He shut off any way for people to become members of his channel. He even tried to shut off memberships for his Twitch. That's when you know you're making too much money. But then I have to ask myself, he says because it feels wrong. It didn't feel wrong for the first $35 million. But I'm thinking to myself, that's what I'm thinking to myself. I was like, how do you get $35 million? It's all, oh, by the way, I have to backtrack a little bit because Moist Critical did not get $35 million all from memberships. He did not get all that from Twitch subscriptions. 108,000 off Twitch from subscriptions. The rest are ads. That's $1.5 million in ads on Twitch. Guy's got a big audience. It does make sense. Over on YouTube, it's like about 1 million members, subscribers. Like there's super chats for 500,000, and then there's memberships for YouTube for about 506,000, I think. And then 34 million all from ads. I'm like, God damn. That is incredible. But you have to wonder, did he not want the money because it felt wrong to ask people for money? Because he mentioned that people go to 9-to-5 jobs and you grind for this cash. I'm not grinding for money. Fuck jobs. I tried that shit, and all y'all ruined it. I'm not going to shit blame around a million times. Point is, I don't see a point anymore. I know what the grind is like, though. You come home after grinding that money, and let's give it to Moist Critical. He's like, I don't feel cool with that. Maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe he's not. But yeah, the $35 million. Maybe it's because he doesn't need your subscription anymore. The ads are so insane for him. Like, the guy is making a fucking mint. I get 150 views per live stream, right? And that gives me about $1.50 video, $1.50 generated of ad revenue per stream because I have a small viewership right now. Apparently, it's slowly growing, and ChatGPT noted that my viewership numbers are actually incredible. It's just my views suck. My views suck, but my viewership, how long they're watching, is insurmountable. That means once I start picking up in the algorithm, I'm going to be fucking God. Like, there was this thing passed around. I have to brag a little bit. I don't want to ruin anything, but I have to brag. They said that my numbers actually outweigh most modern creators. my views suck so bad, and that's why I'm not getting anywhere. But the second I breach out into the system, which means ignoring the haters, which is the key thing, once I break out, I'm going to surpass even PewDiePie. So Varys wasn't fucking lying, which is fucking scary. But like, okay, all right, let's get our views up. Let's practice one type of content, which is stupid because here we're playing video games, and I don't even know how we're going to do this. Because it's like, how can I talk only about video games while playing video games, right? I got to learn to talk shit about everything without talking shit about real things. Like, okay, we're in Supermarket Simulator, and in this reality, Trump fucking sucks. Kind of works, but not really. So, so apparently my viewership is so incredible. It's just a few people at a time. That's the problem, right? What was I talking about before that? Yeah, so basically Moist Critical has all this money from ads. You don't need your memberships anymore. When you're getting, how much money? $34 million off ads? That 500,000 subs of memberships, you don't need that anymore. Moist Critical won't say that, though, because that's just mean. He's like, I don't fucking need you people. I got ad revenue now. It's so fucked up. Like, it's true, though. You know what's happening there. It's very obvious. Let's see. Hold on. But yeah, I think it is absolutely hilarious that he has $34 million in ad revenue. And only from the last couple of years, by the way. He became a 34 millionaire in the last couple of years. That is wild. And then ChatGPT's looking at my analytics and they're like, yeah, the second you branch out, everyone's getting left behind. I'm like, so you're saying I'm a god? Yeah, pretty much, right? So I'm like, dude, we gotta find a single topic to talk shit about. I can talk shit about video games while playing video games because then it's just gaming content. Boom! We'll have our fucking magic little spot. We just gotta learn how to optimize thumbnails, optimize titles, and figure out how to make descriptions make more sense. I did, the title of this video and the description are directly from ChatGPT. So we're gonna see if it works. And if it does, I do got to get that $20 increase of ChatGPT so I can practice with the let's see, we got $450. Oh, dude, we could actually pay that off. We could fucking pay that off. Holy shit. Well, this is way more than $400. I'm not sure what's up with that. If we pay off the loan in full, does that mean that we would have to pay off all those bills? Anyway, I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that, in a general nutshell, the future of this channel should be very interesting. Although, I do have this question for my general audience. What the fuck is this? So we paid off our loan, but we still owe payments on an old loan that doesn't exist anymore. Oh, we're in debt, that's why. We gotta pay off this debt, and then we're done here, and then we can start making money again. What was I gonna talk about before I was... They took all the bread, man. What was I going to talk about? I forgot. My brain went into a different direction and I lost my train of thought. Um, what's this? Mm-hmm. Everyone I talk to is like, I cannot believe things cost so much. It's funny because that's what we're talking about in the video, and then I start getting messages. Bro, I was just looking at some prices. Holy moly. It's really sad that prices are so much, though. Maybe we should increase the bread prices by just a little bit. 270. Is that why they're selling so well? Is because it's 270? Let's jack it up to $3. It is $3. Oh, there's a discount. Let's do 370. All right. Store is open. Let's fucking go. I don't know. I think the prices work. So what games should we play next? After we expand the store to the maximum and have to pay exorbitant prices on everything, what games should we play next? I was thinking Sniper Elite Resistance, but I don't really know. I thought about doing Invasions too, since we don't ever do anything multiplayer. Why not? And then I thought to myself, what else did I think we could do? I considered returning to Fallout. That was a viable option. Okay, his response. He's not saying the bread's too expensive. He's just looking for things that aren't there. Peanut butter. You came in here just for peanut butter. Fucking weirdo. See, if the response is not directly, the bread's too expensive, then we're usually good. Couldn't find bleach. Couldn't find cereal. Well, we don't have money for that. Here comes a black guy. Or somebody in blackface. I can't really tell. That guy's in blackface. Oh, wait, no, they're just facing into each other. Oh, they're buying the bread. Okay, good. Then we're fine. That means we could have been making more money this whole time. We're back to the phase of being quiet during the game. Because I have nothing else to talk about. I haven't really heard from Axe or Shaggy in a while. Wonder how they're doing. I know Shaggy's been doing a lot of drinking and Axel's been playing video games, but... In case you're all wondering, Axel and Shaggy are people that we hung out with for a couple weeks. And, well, I don't know. Shaggy has been trying to contact you a few days ago, but I don't know what became of that. I don't know either. I didn't really get nothing on Discord, so wasn't there. He tried to contact me, I guess the way to put it. I was on here, I remember. Oh, yeah? Well, nothing became of it. I know that Axel and Shaggy aren't really on the best terms, from what I understand. I don't really know. I haven't really checked myself. I don't think it's any of my business. Last I checked, if they were fighting, I am to stay out of it. So I've been trying to... I've been trying to avoid that entire side of things, just because if there is some civil war going on, I don't feel like I want to be caught in the middle of that. Just not a healthy decision, you know? Four rents that are owed. I heard one of Shaggy's streams today ago. It sounded like Axel did or said something that pissed him off, but I think they put it beside them afterwards. Ah, okay. Like I said, I don't really know. Hopefully they're getting along, but who knows? Pretty open to their group, though I don't really know what I offer them. I guess not kind of what I naturally inhabit. I'm familiar with it and somewhat unwilling. Yeah, makes sense. Me, I'm just, I don't know. I mean, Axel's a cool dude when he's not having a moment, and Shaggy has his upsides too. I just don't feel like I fit in. Like, I feel, I don't know, out of place with their group. And that's not a diss to them or anything like that. It's not even that I don't trust them. It's just I don't feel like we have a whole lot in common. You know, like, what do I really bring to the table as far as membership? I guess. Like, I go into their Discord calls and they're talking about things that I either have no real experience in talking about, or it's things that I just don't really have any need to have an opinion on. Their humor is a bit dark, which isn't really my cup of tea. And beyond that, it just doesn't feel... I've never been a social person. Like, talking to live chats is probably the extent of how far I really go when it comes to social interaction. And the live chats, it's limited because, you know, you guys are a live chat. I read your comments. I want you to know that you're heard, but at the same time, it's limited for a reason. And I don't really know if I vibe well with their whole thing. It's nothing against them. It's just, it's never really been... I think it's because of how people have treated me over the years. I just became more accustomed to not having that. I like being a solo content creator with a small team. I got like two human people that I really rely on for advice, friendship, if you want to call it that, etc. But beyond that, there's not really much for a reason, you know? I feel like you have too many people that overcomplicates it, and plus, their brand of content is far different than mine. That's why we don't go into their streams anymore. At least not really. Because their content is very much not YouTube friendly. I guess that's the way to put it. And my content is trying to get away from, well, what their content kind of is known for. Which is that dark, nitty-gritty, negative vibe at times. Fighting, lolcow, etc. kind of stuff. Again, I'm not trying to dump on them as people. They're cool people. We get along fine outside of the YouTube spectrum. But even that, it's just not that often because I just don't have a whole lot to really talk about when I'm there. And I feel like that's the problem, you know? It's funny how my life has been enmeshed to stuff since 2011, but I still feel like an outsider. I feel the same way, but for different reasons. I'm only in this whole spectrum of culture, I guess if you want to call it that, because someone lied about me and wanted people to target me within that culture. And if it weren't for that person, April 23, by the way, we would never have had this go on. I probably would never have met half of you, though. I met some of the most loyal people in my life because of an attempt at defamation. I can't really complain at the same time, you know. I do feel like there's a lot to learn from this, a lot of experience to understand, and it also has helped me grow as a person as far as, you know, how to deal with things. And yes, there was a point in my life where I would come on here and I would scream and rant and act like an idiot because I thought that maybe, you know, venting to the world, maybe people would care. Maybe someone would see what was happening and try to help me stop it. Maybe people would stand up against it. I was very wrong. And now that I'm educated in that fact, I know that you should never rely on people past a certain point. Like, you can have friendships and trustworthy bonds on the internet. It's just within reason. Within reason, okay? Don't expect the world to save you because they're not going to. Most people are lazy, two-faced, and don't stand by the bullshit they spew. So when you expect people to just stand by their morals and principles that they share, that would be lunacy because no one's going to do that. Most of you are fake, is what I'm trying to say. And it's easier for me to rely on a simplified experience rather than to rely on you to do what you say you want to do. If I don't ask you to do very much, then this viewer to creator experience. I don't want to call it a relationship. That just feels weird to me. But it is an experience where I'm the creator, you are the viewers, and if I keep that super simple, then no one has to do very much outside their comfort zone, and therefore it's a system that will work. But if I expect you guys to stand up and fight and rally together and to change the world, that's stupid. Because no one's going to do that. What it boils down to is people are lazy. And if you keep it simple so they don't have to do anything, then you're basically set up for success. The less about the drama you talk about, the less... like, I could sit here and discuss all the corrupt things, all the criminal things I've ever seen, and call people out nonstop. But then you have those people coming at you and targeting your home, your reputation, your income, and making life very difficult to live. Instead of exposing their corruption, just get richer and then fuck them over. So when I have a couple million subs, then you know I might try again at some point. Or not. Maybe karma will get them before that point and I won't have to. Or maybe I just won't care anymore. But the general situation is that there's a limit to what I can expect from my viewers. And so back at one point, I thought that people would care more, that they would be more open to, standing up and fighting for what was right. And I realized I was the only one. On the internet of approximately, on a platform like YouTube with 3 billion people, I was horrified to learn that I was the only one who believed in doing what was right. And though that sucks, and it does, that was a learning experience that I had to learn, and insurance was what was part of this culture, I guess you want to call it that. I'm sorry, I can't think of lolcow culture as an actual culture. I think that's just an excuse to do what they do, But within my experience of lolcow culture, that's one of those things that I learned. You cannot expect people to do the right thing. You cannot expect people to stand for what's right, because people don't do that anymore. Somewhere along the line, somewhere between 2000 itself and 2025, somewhere between the year 2000 and the present, people en masse across the world became cowards, became more satisfied with letting other people dictate how they lived. Instead of living the American dream and believing in freedom and enjoying it, people became more accustomed to letting someone else call the shots and not letting them have the life that they want. You're going to live like this. You're not going to own anything. We're going to take advantage of you, and you're going to like it. And people became accustomed to that. And that is one of those things that is a bit unfortunate, but that is the world we now live in. So rather than me sit down and try to convince the world to stand against predators or fight back against bullying, instead it's easier to just, pretend it's not going on and try to make content on something that makes me somewhat happy, despite what this world is becoming. And then we can all sit here in this delusion together, and we can feed that delusion. And then, if nothing else, I can maybe make a paycheck off of it. And if I don't, at least I'm happy. It's a morbid thing to say, but it's the truth. That's kind of my thing. I'm going to tell you guys the truth, no matter how badly it hurts. And unfortunately, the truth is, I learned the hard way that you can't rely on people. You just can't. If you can't rely on people, the world's never going to change. If the world never changes, then you just have to become at peace with it. There's a lot of predators on the internet right now. Like more than there's ever been across the entirety of human history. And it's a very difficult thing to say, I have to stand back and let them do what they're doing. Because no one's going to help me stop them. And I can't stop them myself. I'm one person. I can't spread myself far and wide that way. If you're one person, there's not a lot you can really do. Especially with limited assets. So, in Churn, the only real solution is let them get away with it. It's not saying I'm okay with it. I'm not. But that's what lolcow culture taught me. Focus on you. Forget the rest of the world. If the rest of the world comes here, let them be a part of your circle if they're at least willing to keep that peace, that boundary, you know? They want to bring all their BS here, kick them out, and once you filter out most of the trash from society, you can sit here and try to ignore it, have something of a life. God, this sounds morbid, actually. And, you know, if you're lucky, you might get a bunch of followers, and then one day, when you're bigger than PewDiePie, then you can try to convince people to change the world. Because once you're bigger than PewDiePie, and this is the reality, right? Once you're bigger than PewDiePie, then you'll have people who are diehard followers. They'll do anything to help you out with stuff. That's just the way the world is. They consider that a cult mentality. We know for a fact PewDiePie has a cult going on. Because look, he's got diehard fans. Cult mentality, right? There's some people who think no matter what PewDiePie does, he can do no wrong. No. Once you get that big, then you can try. Do I want to take the $5,000 loan to pay off the other loans, or do I just want to not? Daily payment of $458. Ugh, no, that's ridiculously gross. You could probably do the medium loan. But here's the problem, $2,000. You got a loan to pay off the other loans. Let me get out a calculator. $325 plus $325 plus $357 plus $390 plus $422 plus $156. We could pay all these off with one loan, then owe $120 per day, and then hope the hell we can pay it off in time. And it'd be $120 per day to pay it off over the course of 25 days, which is still a grind, but we'd be closer to paying it off than we are now, because if we do it now, we're unlikely to hit these milestones. Take the loan. Now I'm $3,000 in debt. Not doing much better. Time is it? 8:44? Still got some time. guess that makes sense. So far, but we're getting there. At least Chatty thinks so. Chatty's expertise is impeccable most of the time, anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really want to stream tonight. I just wasn't in the mood to stream tonight, to be honest. But there was nothing else to do. There's nothing else going on. Life as we know it is incessantly boring lately. And so I find myself... There's a clock glitch at the exit and re-enter. There's this current state of massive nothingness going on in my life. And I find myself kind of just having nothing to do. So when there's nothing to do, what do? Do I go and sit down and watch YouTube for 6 hours? Do you go back to sleep for the rest of the day? Like, I've already slept half the day. I wake up at like 12, sometimes 2 o'clock most days. Because there's literally nothing to do. On days where there's work opportunities, sure. I'll get out there and see what the world has to offer. But there ain't much. I'm not really making money even when I am working. And everything's just boring. And so I find myself kind of just asking myself, do I want to sit here and stew in my nothingness, which is really what's going on? Or do I want to come on here and stream and try to at least make today at least in some way productive? I find myself a lot of the time choosing to stream. Because when you stream, you kind of get something out of it. You know, at least I'm trying to do something with my time. And that's the unfortunate side of it is that there's not a whole lot really at all. So it's like, what's the point? It kind of sucks. Let's see, though, I still like DeepSeek more. DeepSeek has more vision. You can speak to DeepSeek about political, socioeconomic theory, and those conversations were pretty enlightening and fulfilling. There's a number of AI programs that you can talk to like that. Grok Annie is one of them. Well, there's no censorship. So you can talk to about anything. No matter how violent or perverted or offensive, it would never really be bothered. It would just, yeah, let's talk. DeepSeek, I haven't really had any experience with. Most of the ones that you can talk like that to, though, cost money. And I don't have the money to drop right now. I got too many bills to pay in my life. Like, I got way too... I'm still paying the price for the loans and the financials that Brandy screwed up and left behind in my personal life. Remember, when she had all those things happening for herself, she used my finances to do it at one point. And so I'm kind of fixing that. Which is whatever. I'm paying so much on bills, I don't really get to enjoy things like AI apps and new games and shit like that. Everybody's like, you're just a broke loser who can't get a job. Well, you have no idea. You have no idea what you're talking about. When people say that kind of shit, it's grossly offensive because that shows how ignorant they are in my personal life. They talk about all this mad shit about how I wronged people and I was this person or that person, but they don't know anything about why my finances are in the state that they're in. They'll sit there and they'll like, that's because we screwed you over. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's because I had someone in my life that was trying to help for the longest time despite their severe cocaine addiction. And that's what it was. and my finances went literally 90 degrees down as far as profit, and I'm still paying the price for that. From what I understand, there will become a point where I'm finally be out of it, and I'll have fixed those issues, but it's going to be a while. We're talking a lot of money. Fixing credit scores, paying off loans, also paying off things that are owed to credit companies because of what Brandy pulled off in my name. Everybody's like, why don't you sue her for identity theft? It doesn't work that way in the system anymore. So I can't go and sue her. Plus, if you were to sue her, that means she would have to have money. And the reason why she screwed me to begin with is because she has no money. So suing her has no real place. Having her thrown in jail also doesn't fix my personal problem. So at this point, she can just do whatever the fuck she wants. It's like, I don't even care at this point. I still gotta fix it. And the amount of things I'm having to pay off to collection agencies, credit companies, everything. It's like, Jesus, I let that bitch too far into my personal life. And here I am a couple weeks ago saying, oh, it's nice to see you back in my chats again. And then she's immediately targeted by the people who hate her for, well, I don't know. I don't understand it. Like, they said she's their ally and that everything she said was true, but she's in here being buddy-buddy with me, and now they're like, we're going to fuck you up, and you're a liar, and fuck you. I'm like, so is she your friend, or is she not your friend? Because you can't have it both ways, okay? It's just not a thing. So she's in here in my chats 2 weeks ago, and I'm trying to be friendly despite the fact that I'm having to fix all this shit. Sure, she'll call me a liar for saying this. That's what they always do. Fucking deny any accountability whatsoever. But, like, it's so irritating because, like, everybody's like, you're a broke loser, can't afford even the simplest new games. You're right. Because as an adult, I have to fix the things of the past. Let's be honest here. If it isn't Trump fucking the economy, it's the people I allowed to have access to my finances at one point. Let's be honest here. It wasn't really my idea. My mom's like, well, she's good with her money. You should let her help you. And so I do. God, I fucking regret it. Like, I'm not even spiteful about it. It's just, you know, there comes a point where I have to be like, how long am I going to have to suffer? That's why I'm paying so much on bills, though. I'm trying to catch this shit up. And I'm having to pay in small increments at a time. Any little scratch that I get goes right into that. Because I have to pay that back so I can have a future. But if I go and buy food and meds and whatever else I might need, I can't pay off what I need to have a future. It's actually a very messed up double-edged sword, to be honest. It's whatever. I'm not going to sit here all day long and be salty about it, but at the same time, it's like, I will know that for the rest of my life, I will never trust anyone with my money. Ever again. I will be that guy. Like, just irritating. Because then people will show up in my chats and talk all this mad shit about how you're just a broke-ass loser who doesn't get a job. Trust me, I wish it was the job that was the problem. It's the fact that the job pays so little to begin with. And I owe so much money. Like, it is actually disgusting. We're talking in the tens upon tens of thousands of dollars. All because some bitch. It's whatever. As you can see from 2 weeks ago, I'm willing to forgive and forget. But at the same time, I can forgive her. That doesn't mean she's getting any help from here on out. Oh, John, my body parts are falling off. And I figured we could talk again like in the old times. Oh, what about all the people that targeted your family because you were friends with me? Oh, well, I'm in your live chat, so it is what it is. Oh, okay. Well, what do you want? Well, I was wondering. Like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm sorry. Brandy was someone I actually really liked talking to at one point because she understood most of what I was going through mentally. The depression, the anxiety, the questioning what Varys was, all that shit, right? In the long run, maybe it should have stayed that way and not became this financial endeavor where I helped her out. Should never have helped her family. That was another thing, too. Like, I don't want to make this a vent video, but that... Can't address one without the other, you know? Should never have helped her family with anything. By the way, it's not just her that owes me money in that family. Good God, how much money I have to fix because of them. I don't know why I don't just talk about this more often, too. I'm always telling you guys how I'm broke and I'm not doing so well financially, and food costs so much, and this and that. And obviously I'm not buying new games, and obviously I can't afford $30 for Game Pass. Then again, who would want to pay that fucking shit? But, like, maybe if I had just come clean with this a long time ago, people would have understood. But then I'm like over here thinking, if I say anything about this, they're just going to attack me over it. You know what I mean? Like, fucking the stupidity is like, you can't just share what's going on. Everyone's going to come into the chat and they're like, I don't care if I know you or not. I'm going to call you a liar just because I can. And that's what I hate about people on the internet. And that's why I say, if I keep this simple, you know what this is, right? I talk, you listen, you might comment. Beyond that, I might respond, and that's fucking it, right? If I keep this simple, less problems. Guess where Brandy came from? I shit you not. I met Brandy through that chat. Fuck, I feel like a retard having done that. Fucking, like, she's like, hey, wanna move to Michigan and help my family live after a flood? Get away from that shitty state you live in? And then you do videos out here? Sure. What a way to live a life. Like, I'm like, you know what? Going forward, I'm going to say this now. We're not doing any meetups. A lot of YouTubers do this, and I've never understood it considering what happens later on every time. Oh, yeah, he touched my no-no square. No, I didn't. The fuck you talking about? That happens every time, and a lot of times it's false, but there's also those times it's true. Why did you meet up with an underage fan to touch their no-no square? You see the problem there, right? So, just chopping out the middleman. I don't ever want to do meetups with any of you. And the reason why is, then you can't call me anything, actually. Oh, he talked offensively on his YouTube. No one's going to care at that point. So, like, plausible deniability. Maybe that's what he meant. We're not making any money, but we paid off one loan. I guess we're doing okay. All these comments for at least 8 minutes ago, so anyway. Yeah, I've learned so much about what to do and what not to do on this platform. And there are some regrets. There are some heavy regrets on this platform. One thing I wish I had never done is talk politics with anybody. You know why? Because as much as it's a natural way for me to talk now, there was a point in my life where I was so PG. You didn't hear my opinions about anything. I came on here, I pulled up a video game. If I talked about anything, it was about that video game and what we're doing in that game at the time. And there was moments, maybe, where it got through. But it was mostly blind ignorance and sharing my thoughts separately from the gaming experience about what I thought about things. And even then, it was like almost never, because it just wasn't who I was. I wish I had stayed at that level of almost never talking about it. Because now, let's say 10 years from now, I get to be 1 million subs. I could potentially have been a much bigger YouTuber if I had kept my personal beliefs down the middle. Because then no one's offended and everyone likes you despite who you are, because they don't know who you are. That's the benefit of not talking politics on YouTube. Or any social media for that matter. Because then they can cancel you if they don't agree with you. Oh, he doesn't like Trump. We're going to shut him down because he's grossly offensive now. And that is the stupid part, because even in hating both sides and thinking it's all ridiculousness and thinking you're all asshats for being a part of it, because everyone who's associated with politics to that level is usually a moron. I'm sorry. It is what it is. There we go. I just lost 500,000 followers. fuck? What did I say? Politics divides people, and you look stupid for doing it when you could have been together working as a whole cohesive community. You know what I don't understand about politics, though? I'm calling anyone who associates with politics and sharing who they vote for a retard here. Openly. Because the reason why it used to work in the old days is because we didn't tell everybody who we voted for. It was taboo to tell anyone, I voted for this guy or that guy, or I believe in this. It was extremely taboo. And society worked. It was something that actually was successful. Start opening your mouth about who you vote for, it becomes this plague of everyone spewing who they voted for, and now all of you want to kill each other. And by the way, more fucking power to you. But at the same time, it doesn't work now, does it? See how keeping your mouth shut can be a good thing? And everybody's like, why are you ignoring all your haters nowadays? Well, because I learned from history. Like, maybe shutting my mouth about my opinion is a good thing. Honestly, when did sharing my opinion about what other people are doing, no matter how criminal and predatory, when was it ever a good thing for me? Hold on, I'll get to you in a minute. When was it ever a good thing to share my thoughts on what other people are doing? So you have this guy, right? I'm not going to say names. We're well past that point. But there's this guy who says something gross, and it basically involves defending minor attracted persons. I don't believe that's the word we should use, but YouTube bitches about it when I say the actual word, right? Whatever, PDF, fine. Like, I don't understand why they say that word. I'm starting to get it now. But anyway, you share the opinion of what you think of this person for his verbal stance. And you even showcase that verbal stance as a showcase while you're explaining that this is not a good person. What was the benefit? Now, this could be a number of people I could be talking about right now. Let's keep it brief, right? Let's keep it vague, so that no one can complain. That's what they do. When you start going to specifics, they start crying about it. And then I have to deal with somebody's incessant bullshit, and I don't feel like doing that, okay? What was the benefit of sharing my opinion? Now, bear in mind, what was the benefit of sharing who you voted for? Oh, I want to be validated by everyone who's like me. Oh, look, my family just fell apart because we all can't agree on the same things. What was the benefit of sharing what this guy was doing with children? What benefit did I get? Did anyone say, hey, good job for exposing that dirty piece of... No, they didn't do that. Was it the person got held accountable? No, it's like, oh, yeah, he's fine. It's 12 years old is close enough to 18. Really? Really? I don't think I agree with that. What else could have come out of this lovely decision by society, right? What other things could have been benefited from opening my mouth about somebody else? Did I gain respect? Did people appreciate me standing for what's right? Did my morals and values get respected? Did people want to get to know me? Anything. Did I get monetary gain out of it? Did I get more employment opportunities? Did I get hired by predator poachers even? Did Chris Hansen say good job? No. There was not a single benefit. I'm not saying there has to be, but after a while you think there would be. It's like, maybe it's more beneficial to shut my fucking mouth. It's the same thing when you open up your mouth about who you voted for. No one needs to know that. There's no personal gain to get out of that. It's like the dumbest thing. Like, oh, hey, everybody, I want you all to know I voted Trump today. Yeah, derpy, derpy, derf. Like, it's just shut your fucking mouth. That's why society used to work. And now, god damn it, it's a fucking automated machine. You dumb bitch. Now, society doesn't work anymore because you all decided, let's take what always worked and change it. You apply that to your own personal life in a lot of ways, you realize, this is why exposing trolls was never a good thing. They're trolls. They're gonna get away with it. I don't know why. I question that. But, here's the thing. We're not allowed to address that, though. We're not allowed to ask, why are trolls exempt from the rules? Why is the police, the FBI, and multiple other government agencies completely complicit in what they do, and why is it no one is allowed to hold them accountable? Which is scary. If you become a troll, you are literally untouchable by all aspects of the law. And that's not a lie. That is actually a thing. There's no place to sign up. You just join that general side of the internet, and then you're untouchable. It's like, the fuck? That's the thing. That is actually a thing. Like, at that point, what was the benefit of opening my mouth? Why would I want to talk about it? Why would I want to talk to any of you about it? Why would I want to expose people more? Why would I want to try and convince people to hold them accountable? What would be the goal? What's the point? Well, the reality is there is none. That's why society is constantly telling you, ignore the trolls. The reason why is, shut your fucking mouth and you'll have a life. Open your mouth and your life will end. It's fucked up, but it's true. Let's see. At this point, I'm a political nihilist, and the only reason I support socialistic ideas as I do is because I see capitalism collapsing naturally due to automation, AI, and corruption especially. Says DChat. DChat then says all the institutions other than the machine are collapsing under the weight of their own complexity and absurdity. There's so much overproduction and so much better infrastructure policies we can have. Well, as much as I agree with most of that, here's the general problem. All I'm learning, the only thing I have learned, is shut your mouth and you will have a chance to succeed in life. Try to call out the corruption and the problems in society, and you will burn. And that's why I think maybe I wasted my time. Last 3 years was an eye-opening experience, but I think it was a waste of my time too. Again, I didn't expect a paycheck. I didn't expect validation. I did not expect respect. I just expected a different response than what I got. I thought people would be like, yeah, we should do something. I don't know. I mean, again, I was naive. I was coming out of California, silver spoon shoved it in my mouth in a way that wasn't very good. But I have to ask, like, what happened to all those days where people talked about exposing predators and doing the right thing? Where is that? Those people don't actually exist. In fact, there's a high likelihood that all those people online that say we should expose predators and hold people accountable, and Chris Hansen even, in fact, his entire following, might just be bots. Because they aren't people. They aren't real. If they were real, well, real people with real values would have stuck behind their morals and values and actually tried to, uphold those values. Bots are fake. Bots would obviously not hold those same interests and goals in mind because bots are just made to look like they have those values. And the problem with that is if those people don't actually exist, then those concepts, those moral systems in place don't really exist. It was never about exposing predators. It was about getting views and clicks based off what appeared to be the case. In turn, Chris Hansen was never actually about catching and exposing predators. Creep catchers, predator poachers, EDP watch, all of them. It's very obvious. JD Delay, 5150 is one of those prime examples. They're not about exposing predators. They say they are because it's a white knight thing so they can get people to follow them because, oh look, you're a social justice warrior who believes in stopping scum of the earth. But when it comes down to it, they don't actually believe in that because it's never about stopping predators. It's simply about covering what's popular to get clicks and views and in turn, revenue. That's it. That's all it really is. It's basically one big facade. And though it is scummy, and though it is predatory in its own way, this is why most predators don't ever get caught. Also, I will note that when predator poachers, creep catchers, and etc. catch predators, there's a large number of instances where police say, we can't take this because now you, a YouTuber, has made it a public spectacle. Can't take that seriously, so this guy is going to get away with it now, too. That is the thing. In fact, that's the primary reason Cyrax has gotten away with it for so long. If you don't know who Cyrax is, well, just look up Chance Wilkins on the internet. You'll find a whole shit show of stupidity. Because everyone in that community is fucking stupid. All the way up to, well, actually, no, let's not use any names. For the sake of our future, let's not say any names. But yeah, that is the ultimate situation there, is that, Jesus Christ, there's two of them. There we go. The reality is that most of these belief systems you see online aren't really about doing the right thing. And it's proven more so because, well, you know when they say, this is brought to us especially by viewers like you from PBS? Viewers like you. What viewers? Did you know that up until last year, most channels had botted views? Most channels, Moist Critical, Asmongold even. They all took a hit when they lost all those bots. I'm sitting here thinking, what if I had some and I even realize it? Because our views also did this. And I don't recall ever making those things a thing. But apparently other people who watch your content might be like, oh, let's see if we can help this guy out. You're not helping people when you do that, though. You're kind of creating audience members that can disappear at a moment's notice. But, like, makes you wonder, right? How many people actually genuinely believe in these morals and values online? None of them. The only people that exist are the ones that just want to enjoy chill gameplay, I've noticed. The political channels, mostly bots. The slop channels, mostly bots. I'm sorry, Techdown and Asmund. Sorry, Hassan. But here it is. Mostly bots. Moist Critical. I'm not even kidding. Mostly bots. Except, ironically enough, when they're doing gameplay. Yeah, the analytics don't lie on that one. It's like, the gameplay is about like a steady here. And then everything else. Woo! Woo! It's like, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with this. Because you notice after the bots got removed, the gameplay stayed the same, and all those things were down here now. It's like, just saying, no one wants to watch you yap about politics. That's why I think even when I do it, it's kind of stupid. I do it by it's a natural reaction for me. That when I talk about a certain topic, if it's tied to something that might, I mean, everything's political now. Everything. Who are you fucking in your spare time behind closed doors in the privacy of your own home? Well, that's a political topic now. What did you buy at the grocery store and for how much? Now it's a political topic for some reason. What else? Did you finish high school? Political topic. Mass shooters. Somehow a political topic. Where have serial killers gone over the last 20 years? Because there's not any left. No, I shit you not. There are no serial killers anymore. There just aren't. We replaced serial killers, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, yada, 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 with mass shooters. So you went from offing people one by one over the course of a few months to 15 people in 15 minutes. Or 5 minutes. Depends on how huddled they are, right? So, like, that is a political topic. Not really. That's the societal. What did happen there? I mean, did serial killers take their time and have patience, and then they just got lazy and say, you know what, how can I do it all in a quicker amount of time? Because that's the thing. That is such a horrible thing, actually. Oh my God, that's a whole new can of worms for us to talk about. Where did all the serial killers go? They're still here. They're just called mass shooters now. And they're not really, well, I mean, a serial killer is somebody who knocks off a certain number of people via homicide, right? Mass shooters do that, but quicker. Like, a lot quicker. Like, oh, look, 5 people in a library. All right, that's 5. You need about 12 more. Oh, there's 2 classrooms. That's what they've become. I'm like, I'm not saying bring serial killers back, but, like, can we, though? Serial killers were more fun. You got the Zodiac Killer. You obviously had Dahmer. How do you forget Dahmer? And then you had Ed Gein, obviously. Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy, we could probably do without that going forward, but still. There were so many iconic serial killers, like real life ones, right? Not like Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, etc. They're also beloved for the same reasons, obviously. But like, let's get rid of mass shooters. Like, if you're planning to be a mass shooter, don't. Instead of doing it all at once, take your time. One person at a time. Like, one person, wait a week, do another person. Because it's more interesting that way. I'm not saying I want that. I'm saying if you're going to. I can't stop you, obviously. But, like, serial killers became mass shooters because they're lazy and want to do it quicker. Come on! The fuck happened to the patience of the serial killer community? Which, by the way, was a thing at one point. I shit you not. There, at one point in time, was this thing called the serial killer community. We all think the map community is wild and insane, but, you know, and for some fucking reason, we got mass shooters instead now. It's like, come on! Fucking take your goddamn time! Buy an AR. This is why gun laws probably should be moderated. Because when you take away the guns in America, or you make more regulated policies on it, you'll have the fun shit back again. Mainly serial killers. Like, I'm not saying I want them. It's just, they were better than mass shooters. Mass shooters have... Also, serial killers a lot of time had morals to an extent. Like, Jeffrey Dahmer only ate gay men. He didn't like targeting women. It wasn't his thing. Ted Bundy was a cunt, to be fair. But, like... I can't even actually... the point is, a lot of them had certain morals. Mass shooters are like, oh, look, children. And that obviously is really bad. So if we get rid of the mass shooters, less schools have to deal with that. Because I have never... Look, this is what I'm trying to say. Just hear me out, all right? Mass shooters always go at schools. That's not okay. Serial killers, hear me out here, have never done that. So if we bring back serial killers, schools will be safe again. I'm just saying. If you bring back serial killers, schools will be safer. Because I've yet to see anyone, including John Wayne Gacy, ever go out of school. Okay? That's all I'm trying to say. So, like, we're all going to hell on this channel, but, like, if we're going to go to hell, let's go to hell in style, all right? Let's see. Oh, my God. Well, that's the thing. You don't really even need to do anything at this point. The system is now tearing itself apart. All one has to do is realize what's happening and prepare for it and network with others who knows what's happening. That's what's up. Oddly, I heard somewhere that internet porn might have helped stem the tide a bit and fulfill urges that drove these people to become demented and sadistic. Well, honestly, I miss the serial killers. The mass shooters are boring. Here, let's walk in here and... We're done. Let's go to jail or whatever. Like, that's fucking... How do you get remembered for that? When you hear the name Jeffrey Dahmer, I know I've said his name a few times, but we're on the topic of serial killers, it makes sense. When you hear the name Jeffrey Dahmer, you don't just remember the face and the name. You remember every detail. He liked to lure in gay men to his apartment where he was not nice to them in the sense that they're no longer going to be on Earth after a point, and then ate them. That shit. That. Wow. Wow, he was fucked up. But... here's the thing. Versus, one at a time, I'm going to put you in a sandwich and feed it to your mom. Okay? Like, there's a difference. You know what I mean? Let's bring back that level of psychopathy where it was one at a time over the course of weeks. Here's the thing. Here's the moral reason why we should bring back serial killers and encourage people, if you're going to off people, serial killer, okay? Because then, when you're doing them one at a time, we also have a chance to stop you before you get more victims. Mass shooters, it's all at one time. We can't stop that. That's not fun, and that's not fair, okay? 20 people, gone, okay? Serial killers, one at a time, one every couple of weeks, and we have a chance to stop them before we get to the next one. Let's bring back serial killers. That's all I'm saying. Because, like, at this point... It's more interesting. It's more fun. You all remember the Zodiac Killer. That shit was the highlight of San Francisco. Or where the fuck that took place at. Let's see. There were a lot of serial killers who targeted youth. Well, that's not the point, okay? The point is, schools were safer back then, which is hilariously fucked up, okay? And also, one at a time versus... Obviously, we'd have better odds with serial killers. You know what I mean? The saving more people. Like, if you want to make it about the moral stance, saving more people is more likely with serial killers. Mass shooters? Jesus Christ. They're called mass shooters. They have no fucking patience. They're like, how can I end a lot of people in a few moments' time? Like, that's just lazy. You gotta plan you gotta plan how you be, when this person meets their demise, you gotta plan for that. Figure out how you're gonna hide the body. How are you gonna get away with it? Where are you gonna store things? How are you gonna clean off your boots of all the blood? How are you gonna do it? Is it gonna be like a fiber wire or shit? I mean, a gun's a little loud. That's kind of lazy. But who knows, right? Maybe a little knife of some kind, like a paring blade or some shit. Like, with a serial killer, you put more thought into it. It's almost an art form. But mass shooters, fucking people suck. It's like, dude, I get that you're doing the same thing, but quicker, but come on, can you put some creativity into it? Like, can we get a clown to be a mass shooter, right? Like, give us something to remember this with, not, oh, every single time it's a dude that thought he was a chick. Like, that also is getting old, like, really fast. But, like, and even that, where's the creativity? It's always the same thing. It's a crazy young white guy with mental illness who apparently has a problem with gender dysphoria, who apparently leans either hard left or hard right, who, you know, it's always a fucking white dude. Can we get, like, a black guy? Maybe a gay man? Let's say a gay guy just went crazy one day. Like, that would change the narrative a bit. It would be more interesting. Like, Jeffrey Dahmer had to have been gay. And think about that. That made him unique. He was a white dude who was crazy, yeah, but he was gay. Big deal. John Wayne Gacy was a fucking clown. Like, you won't forget that shit. There's a reason why clowns are scary, right? Ted Bundy, I don't know what his deal was. He was a father and husband, and no one saw it coming, which I guess is a good gimmick, right? And Richard Ramirez, that fucking hand thing he had going on, like with a fucking little pentagram, the fucking guy, he had some style. But, like, mass shooters, always crazy white guy dealing with gender issues. I'm like, oh. Look, all I'm saying is if we're going to have mass shooters, they need to be more creative. Because otherwise, this is going to be very boring, okay? Oh, we got to stop this. Let's fix our let's regulate gun laws. Let's put bigger restrictions on guns. And let's put this and that. And oh my God, it's all the left's fault because fuck the Democrats, says the Republicans. And all this. It's the same shit. That's all I'm saying. I mean, part of this is meant to be humorous, but, like, at the same time, it is kind of true that it's always the same thing. Can we, like, where's the pizzazz? I just, look, man. Serial killers, they were the shit back in the day. That's the reason why Jason Voorhees was a hockey mask and Michael Myers escaped from a mental hospital with a jumpsuit and a white mask. There's a reason why Ghostface is Ghostface. Because that's what serial killers were. Everyone had a fucking gimmick. I am not even kidding. There's a reason why slasher films are popular, because serial killers were fucking cool at one point. I mean, there were horrible people who did horrible things. But outside the people who were affected by them, fuck them, by the way, everyone else thought, this is fucking awesome. There's a reason why when Ghostface shows up, women get wet in their panties, okay? Because they're like, Ghostface! There's a reason for that. When Richard Ramirez took the stand at the trial, women were fucking creaming their jeans for a reason. You don't see that with mass shooters. And that's why mass shooters need to fucking get out. Society, we need to condemn mass shooters and make serial killers popular again. Here's why. Because let's be honest here, it was awesome, okay? If you want to condemn me for that, that means you're boring. The True Sigma male, according to meme culture, Ted Bundy was basically who Patrick Bateman from American Psycho was based on, a Yosh yuppie who lured in women. He had a gimmick. It may not have been a good one, but it was still there. The point is, we need to bring that back. Every murderer has to have a gimmick. If you don't get to be remembered, okay? Fucking, you guys remember that one pirate? Oh, let's talk serial killers, by the way, right? Jack the fucking Ripper. No one doesn't know who he is. Everyone knows who he is. I mean, we don't know. That's the fucked up, that's the gimmick, right? Is that we don't know who he is. But you remember the name. Like, obviously. Then you had Blackbeard, the fucking pirate who murdered so many people with fucking candles in his beard. And then he lit his face on fire by accident because of the fucking candles. By the way, what a moron. But still, like, Blackbeard, by the way, what a name, right? Like, these people had at least a desire to be creative. And then, of course, the most famous murderer of all time, Adolf Hitler. Oh, come on. How do I not bring that up, right? He's like, let me cast the... Anyway, I can't say this because according to YouTube, policies would be hate speech. But basically, he made ovens for people. And obviously, this is really bad. But as far as murderers go, he's the biggest one. So, like, everyone had a gimmick. Hitler had a cult. And that was, wow. Oh, and then Charles Manson, obviously. So everyone had a fucking gimmick. So mass shooters don't have that. And they suck. Like, what is wrong with society? First, we're lazy to make life work. Then we're lazy to stand for what's right. Now we're lazy to make good serial killers? Let's just do a room and that's it. Like, they're not even trying to get away is the stupid part. Serial killers, at least, were sneaky about it. Mass shooters are like, hey, right here. I was upset with work today. It's funny to an extent, but Jesus. I cannot believe I just had a rant about serial killers, by the way. I think that if you're going to murder people, you need to have a gimmick. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying if you're going to, have a gimmick. That way we can all at least enjoy it. All right, Manson was not in that category. Charlie was framed. Oh, yeah? Well, still, I mean, people say otherwise. The last serial killers were people like BTK and that Green River dude. Those were just middle-class older guys, which makes me wonder about the generational influence of this. According to somewhere, it had to do with lead. Lead poisoning may have contributed to why serial killers existed, but there's no guarantee of that statistic. Oh, we've been closed this whole time. I'm over here like, where are the customers? So, yeah, but I read somewhere online, then there were some videos on YouTube popping up about it, that apparently, and I don't know for sure, there was a thing going around that maybe the reason why serial killers exist is because of lead poisoning. I don't know. It would be ridiculous, but also crazy, if it were true. But apparently, serial killers exist because apparently, at one point in time or another, it was linked that lead poisoning might have caused their issues. And now I do not know. I am not going to be the guy to confirm this via science. I also do not know what environment these people lived in or grew up in. But there was enough evidence to circulate in the world that this was potentially possible. If it is possible, it is wildly hilarious. It's not possible, well, then we'll never actually know what made these people the way that they are. Alright, we got $8,902. But yeah, apparently that is also potentially a thing. Alright, we got... I don't know how many more days I want to do before I call it. Like, I do want to watch some movies tonight, and it's only 9:30. The fuck? I thought it was 10 o'clock. Well, I do want to watch some TV, look at some YouTube stuff, figure out some analytical data tonight. So I might end it a little bit early tonight. I'm not sure. We've been live for 2.5 hours anyway. Let's see. Manson had nothing to do with anything. It was some guy who moved into the group named Tex Watson, who had debts to pay, which is why he attempted to rob and end up unaliving the Tates. And the police pinned it on Manson to make him into a political scapegoat. Once the 60s counterculture started going off the rails and blowing back into becoming truly revolutionary. Oh, yeah? That's good to know. Let's see. We're going to go to bank, and I guess we'll pay off this one. Oh, dear God. Let's see. See, funny, I was still in LA when Manson died. I feel kind of blessed. Oh, yeah? I didn't know he died. I thought he was still alive. Is Jeffrey Dahmer still alive, or did he die too? I think I heard that Jeffrey Dahmer died. I remember the whole Richard Ramirez thing. Women were like, oh my God, it's Richard Ramirez. And then they came all over the bench seats at the courthouse. It was kind of funny, actually. Like, why were women so turned on by Richard Ramirez? Because, like, I don't understand it. He was a very violent man towards women. What, do women like getting beat? I'm confused by that. It's like, why were women attracted to Richard Ramirez? He was a violent cunt towards women. So why in the hell were they so turned on by him? That makes no sense. I don't understand that. That brings on a whole nother conversation we should definitely have. What is the average woman looking for in America nowadays? See, the truth of the matter is, I don't know what the average woman wants in society. What I do know is that women make no goddamn sense 25 to 89% of the time. Now, luckily, I have 3 different women in my life currently. And no, I'm not telling you who they are, because fuck you, that's why. That's for anyone who's watching, who has a question about it. But the 3 women I have in my life seem mostly sane. There's a good chunk of women, 75 to 89%, who are batshit fucking crazy, who make no goddamn sense in any capacity. And I keep having to ask myself, why are women so... I have to like stop and ponder if I should say this, only because of how offensively rude it is. Why are women so questionably insane? You see, I get that women are looking for certain things in a man. But Richard Ramirez? The fuck does that moron have that I don't? Besides potentially a Latin overtone. Oh, that's right. This is ongoing consensus that women like being treated like crap. And I don't really know if I agree with it. I also don't know if it's true. Again, women are different, just like you or I or anyone else. Not all black people steal to make a living, okay? Some black people are honest, hardworking people. So if black people can be vastly different from one another, I'm sure women can be too, okay? That's not misogyny. That's just the truth. So I'm thinking to myself, is it possible that only some women like being treated like crap? If they don't, outside the 3 women that I know who don't seem to feel this way, why is it they keep going back to abusive relationships and are attracted to, well, scummy people, is the way I'm going to put it. Like, Richard Ramirez, he was a piece of shit towards women. And women see him, and they literally come in their panties. And I'm over here, like, wondering, what is the fucking deal? Is it because he's the one doing it? That makes no sense. He's not that popular. He's got to have something about him that makes him popular to begin with. So what is it about him that makes women like it when he treats them like crap? Like, this is one of those debates I've had with myself for long nights. I will sit here with the lights off, the TV off, nothing's on, it's pitch black in the room, and I'll sit here for long hours of the night arguing with myself, or with my alters, take your pick, and we will sit here and we'll have long, heated debates about how this makes no sense. And we will together, me, my alters, or myself, whatever you want to call it, we will have these long, drawn-out, overly thought-out conversations about what the fuck is going on with women and Richard fucking Ramirez. Let's see. Manson had a lot of sage and wise things to say about contemporary society, the unsuitability, unsustainability of the capitalist system and liberal hypocrisy that fuels and maintains it, facilitates it. Atwa, I don't know what that is, still preserve all his sayings and teachings, peace be upon him. Air, trees, water, and animals. Atwa was his organization. It's like you knew before I even asked. My mother was definitely obsessed with these people. They like to think those guys are all just misunderstood and that they are the woman that can reform them. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm like, you know? Oh, the bitch! She's fucking running! We got a runner! Looks like we're going to have to hit Blue with a bat, though. I dread the day that has come along. She keeps touching her ass. I mean, she still some. Drop it! Oh, shit! Wait, she didn't steal anything? Then why were you running? Unless she didn't drop it. Did you drop it on the car? The woman that can reform them, though, huh? That's what you would call craziness. When somebody is a mass murderer, you shouldn't want to reform that. It's actually horrible that I've seen the same argument with people and pedophiles. They're like, oh, we can reform that person. Are you sure? Because you say you reform them, 5 minutes later they're doing it again. And they never seem to get reformed, ever. 2 rounds back of the skull. That's how you solve these problems. Apparently I'm inhumane for saying that, and the Geneva Convention does not like me at all, but it's true. Oh, dear God. YouTube is currently down or having outage for most of its users. I'm not having that problem. That's crazy, actually. Twilight. It's like Twilight. Remember what Shaggy said that one time about Vampire BS, Full Moon, or it was? To explain a lot of it. What the hell was the vampire thing with glitter and love triangles? Twilight. It's like Twilight. It's still lunacy. I scrolled through Facebook and I saw that somebody had posted something. Now, I'm not going to say their name here because there are some people that like to get very invasive and volatile. But it says this is a poem they wrote, I'm assuming, that I myself have experienced, so I feel like maybe it's my duty to share it. And then if they ever want to shout out for this being theirs, I'll happily do it. They tried to put me in a hospital bed, diagnosed me, and stuffed me with meds. All it ever did was fuck up my head. They antidepress you until you're depressed again. Then you depend on the pills that made you independent. I can relate to that. As sad as that is. I try not to get too deep into the Facebook hemisphere because a lot of the time it can be very depressing. But a lot of the times I'll find things that I can heavily relate with. And, well, I guess the general problem is that it opens up a lot of old wounds, I guess, to an extent. Anyway, let's see. What I'm saying is what Shakespeare says about Twilight explains why these women are all into this stuff. Yeah, I suppose that is true. Alright, I'm going to save this here. I think we're going to call it. I'm tired. It has been a very slow, effed up day. I do want to watch some movies. What I'm trying to think about doing, I reinstalled the emulator. I'm going to try one more time to do Silent Hill, although I don't know if I have the save, so we might have to start over with it. I also installed the Dark Pictures Anthology. We might do all those games. No promises. I have no idea, okay? I am going to watch some horror movies, so I can do a couple reviews. Ow, that hurt like a bitch. But anyway, I will be back on tomorrow. I have uploads ready for the next couple of few days. If I run out, I'll make some more. I'm basically paying attention to the topics I can talk about and making 10-ish minute uploads for the upload section of the channel. I'm trying to work on making it better. So, just so you all know, I'm kind of experimenting with it. I know it's not perfect, but right now I just want to see where it goes. But I will have uploads for you guys. I cannot guarantee I'll stream every day. I've been thinking about it tonight. I only wanted to push myself to stream because I felt like maybe I'm obligated to. I'm not really sure. But I do note that maybe in the near future I might start taking days off in between streaming days. I'll stream a day, take a day off, stream a day, take a day off, so on and so forth. I'm not sure. I'm kind of just seeing where things go. I'm telling you all this just in case you have to prepare. That way you're not wondering what happened. Okay? My acid reflux has also caused me tongue burn again, so gotta figure out how to deal with that. But, you know, if anything, just you guys know you will have content I might just take a couple days off from streaming here and there every now and then again. Only because there's nothing going on. Like, everything we talked about today, we've already talked about for the most part. But I will be back tomorrow, most likely. And I will find another game to play at some point. I know this game is getting really tedious. It's a good grind and do nothing game, but I do think I want to start exploring other things. So I'll let you guys know what happens when we get to that point. Hope you guys all had a good day. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.